something's going to happen, and a year before, I would say several months before, he called me up and he says, well, the time has come, Mr. Tom Zarek, you know, and basically told me there was going to be a 3-story arc in which my character was going to leave. I didn't know at the time that the series was basically going to be over as well. So it's always hard to leave any show, but it was very much harder for me to leave Battlestar because I had been so involved with it for 35 years, and first of all in the original, and then working very hard to inspire a revival and traveling around the country and putting a lot of my heart, time, energy, and money into a story that I loved and felt had such infinite potential, you know, to explore dramatic themes and sociological themes, political themes, and even to this day I feel like they've barely begun to scratch the surface of the potential of Battlestar, but for whatever reasons the networks are always in a hurry to get off any space show, or, you know, fortunately Battlestar at least was on for 4 or 5 years, but for me the original should have been on far longer and the new show should have been on at least another year to 2 years. I felt they had to hurry the ending. You know, there was a lot of story left to be told, and they were having to throw out all these story hooks and endings and resolutions, you know, one after the other. And people were having to fly in and fly out, doing multiple shows at the same time because, again, at the end of something, it's like a sinking ship. Everybody's going off to other shows, getting cast in this, and trying to coordinate schedules. It was really crazy that final year. It was not my favorite year on Battlestar, you know. But I loved being on that show, and I loved that cast, and I loved the crew very much like the original story. You bond under fire. You get to know everybody in a way that, you know, like going to war, you in the same foxhole. You're struggling. You never know what's going to happen next. You're terrified the show will fail. You know, you get a nice paycheck. You go out and buy a car or a house, and then you don't have the next paycheck in order to make the payments. You know. You have no idea how many actors have houses with no furniture. Seriously, and so it's, you know, the life of an artist can be up and down. And one first thing I told Jamie Bamber, playing Apollo, I was just sharing with him. I said, look, the only insights I can share was not about Apollo because I felt that he was great as Apollo. In fact, Jamie for me embodies Apollo in the sense of the integrity and the honesty and the kind of character metal he came from. You know, the unfortunate part I always felt about Apollo is that I always felt Apollo was the unappreciated character because, like in life, the good guy doesn't seem to get all the attention, right? It's always the troublemakers and the bad boys and the things that get all the energy, and the good guy, you know, kind of gets neglected.
Come on, you got me.
But you know what I'm saying? I mean, the truth is that in terms of relationship, but not in terms of scenes and quality of scenes and material. And I saw that even with Jamie in the new show. He certainly got a lot, for me, better material than I got. But even with the Apollo and the new character, I just felt that they didn't quite know what to do with Apollo. You know, where to place him and how to use him effectively. And and so again, my thought was, I said, I think for the good guy, you got to take the good guy and put him in the most challenging circumstance imaginable, right? To force that good guy to deal with his stuff, to bring out his stuff. And probably you could say that about any character, but you really have to do that with the good guy. You gotta break him up, shake him up, throw him off the cliff, and then it's that struggle to deal with all the challenges that brings out that character's, right? The specialness of that character. So they started to explore with the Apollo character doing that. For me, getting to play the Tom Zarek character, I was so relieved because it was so nice to play a really conflicted, you know, politically wounded idealist like Tom Zarek. And as I've said to so many people, it's funny how people tend to buy into things. Black and white, we tend to want to put things in safe compartments, right? Good guy, bad guy. Battlestar was never about good guy, bad guy. It was about the fact that good people are capable of doing horrible things for good reasons under the right circumstances. The question is then, how do you live with that? How do you deal with that? And I thought, here's Tom Zarek, obviously is aspected like this nefarious character that you don't know what his motivations are, but I always tell people, I go, Well, you know, I think I had 2 suits, you know, to his name. He didn't have much money. He obviously spent 25 years in prison fighting for human rights, to make governments accountable and to stand up for freedom. And of course, he got judged for being a terrorist. And I thought, wow, how interesting. You know, like the Jesus, you know, judge not lest ye be judged, or he who threw the first stone, right, cast the first stone. You've heard that little saying. And I thought the next second we're down on Caprica, and guess what? We're all terrorists going against the silence, right?